Yeah. All right. Thank you very much for coming, and we're of course happy to see so many of you here. As you know, this has been a pretty turbulent time for Saab, for our employees, for our dealers, for our suppliers, and of course also for our customers. Ever since December of 2008, when GM placed Saab under strategic review, the speculations have been many as to the future of Saab, and I'm happy now that we have come to a point where we have secured the future for Saab, as we have signed a binding agreement with a new owner, and we have a financed business plan going forward. This is of course something that is a tremendous achievement, where all of us that have been working on this are of course extremely happy about that. And now is really the time to look into the future and make sure that we take this opportunity and develop Saab as an excellent brand also for the future. During this intense speculation phase, and we have of course as a brand been challenged many times, but I have to say that the strength of the brand I think has been demonstrated many times during this period of time. Not to forget the recent statements that have been made by many of our customers, many of our people that really have a soft spot for Saab in their heart. And I think this has of course made us be very confident that the future for Saab is bright, provided that we sort out the ownership structure as well as the finances for the company going forward. We have had the opportunity during this time to also continue to develop our new cars, and as you know, the new 95 is ready for launch within short. And that means that we will have the possibility to have a fresh start with fresh products that also will generate, of course, a lot of income to the company, but also really over time stabilize Saab, make Saab profitable in the European premium segment. I have had the opportunity, I would say, to be a part of this process already from the beginning, and I must say that I'm very happy now to see Spiker as the new owner for Saab. I've said many times that at this point for Saab, to be a part of a smaller organization is something that we can have a great benefit from. Spiker, with their, not only with their entrepreneurial view, their enthusiasm, but also their know-how, is going to be an asset for Saab going into the future. We have now a very intense work ahead of us, not only to actually sort out some of the open issues. We need to exit the liquidation. We need to restart the business, in particular get going on the manufacturing side, the distribution process, launch the new 95, as well as ensure that we continue to take care of the brand and develop new products that are the right products, not only for Saab, but also for the European premium segment. I would like to take this opportunity, of course, to thank everybody that has supported us during this period of time, in particular, of course, our employees, our dealers, our suppliers, our customers, and actually everybody that has a soft spot for Saab. Without that, I don't think we would have been where we are at this point. So I'd like to express my personal thanks to all of those who have supported us. With that, I'd like to hand it over to Victor Muller, who is the CEO of Spiker Cars, to also make some remarks. Victor?
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm really stunned to be here. Maybe it's been because in the past 5 days that I've been in Stockholm, I must have not seen more than 15 hours of sleep, but I'm particularly stunned that we managed to do it. It's been an incredible ride since we started the negotiations back in November. And if there's one thing that I've learned about Saab in the past 2 months, is that it has an incredible loyal following. Whether it was the dealer network or the Saab owners, whether it was the unions that supported Saab, but particularly the employees. I can only imagine what they've gone through in the past months, and that's not the past 2 months, but the past year. And I'm extremely proud that they've wintered this out, and that we're here today to announce this wonderful transaction to all of you. We took interest in Saab not early in the year, because we were then engaged in a very large other transaction, which unfortunately ended up in the hands of Mercedes. But we were immediately intrigued when in November the transaction with Koenigsegg fell apart. And I remember being in the factory early December, and the production director, Gunnar Brunius, showed me the factory just before it was about to close. And I asked him, if there were no restraints, if there was no financial problem here, what would you change this factory? And he said, nothing. And I thought that was amazing. That's a big credit to GM for having put up a factory that the director doesn't even know what to change, because it's so well built, so well organized. And I think we shouldn't forget that 20 years of stewardship of GM has indeed created an infrastructure and a business which is as serious as it can be. And it's a wonderful starting point for Spyker to basically carve it out of GM after 20 years and make it into an independent car manufacturer, which it has been for so long. I also made on that very day a promise. I promised Saab and I promised Jan-Åke that we would go out of our way to try to save the company. And if I look in the mirror, I think we've done that, because I look really bad. And but I also have a tremendous smile on my face, because we did it, and that's the only thing that counts. The result is the only thing that counts. The interest in Saab is basically very easy to understand. Saab is an iconic brand. It's a brand that has unique roots, Scandinavian roots, very Swedish roots. It's an aeronautically inspired company, just like Spyker. It's a company that was phenomenally successful in racing, just like Spyker. And of course, it's a few hundred times bigger. The face of Spyker cars completely changes because of this transaction. Spyker will be, as a business, somewhere behind the comma. It's going to be relatively small. And many people will wonder, how is it possible that such a small car company can buy such a huge car company, although Saab, even in relative terms, is still a small manufacturer? I think we should focus not really on those, let's say, disparities, because this could only happen in days that are unusual. The period that we're currently going through in the industry is so unprecedented that a company like Spyker can buy Saab. And it's the perfect storm. Here is a large manufacturer that has to divest of certain assets, and a situation in the market that has been so bad that things can happen like us buying Saab. But please, do not focus on that. Think about the opportunities going forward. It may be so that Spyker now buys Saab, but in effect, in the normal circumstances, probably Saab would have bought Spyker. And you would find the same situation in the end, namely the result of having two beautiful, iconic brands under one roof. And that's really what it's all about. What are we going to achieve once this transaction has closed, let's say, 2, 3, 4 weeks from now? The first thing that needs to happen is that Saab needs to learn to stand on its own feet. It's been part of a very large conglomerate for very long, and it's going to be quite a challenge to be absolutely responsible for everything yourself. I mean, in the past, all the services rendered by GM would take care of a lot of, let's say, internal services that need to be serviced, like treasury and finance. And all these things need to be set up independently. But Saab has a large number of phenomenal qualities in-house already, which are basically founding the future of the business. Fantastic engineering, great design, super infrastructure, phenomenal employees, and a heritage that will make this brand stand out for decades and decades to come. We're in this for the long haul. If we look at what we can achieve in the short term for both brands, one has to be very moderate in one's expectations. It's not so that Spyker will benefit immediately from being a sister company to Saab or vice versa. But what will happen is that Saab, as a combination, and the company is probably going to be called Saab Spyker Automobiles NV, a public listed company in the Netherlands. That company will, in the future, have two operating companies under the same roof that will be independent but working very closely together. And the beneficiary, in the first place, of course, is Spyker. Spyker will be able to utilize 1,100 dealers worldwide. If only 10% of them would become Spyker representatives, that would treble the number of dealers we currently have. The engineering capabilities of Saab will be absolutely pivotal for the development of the future product of the Spyker business. Think of the parts bin. If you make 100 cars per year, your parts are slightly more expensive than when you make 100,000 cars. And all these advantages are going to be measured over time. They will not be there tomorrow, but it will take some time. What do we bring to the table for Saab? I think what we can bring to the table is this entrepreneurship and tenacity. We have done a lot of difficult things in our time. And for a company like Saab, this difficult time has now come to an end, but the real challenge is about to start. The real challenge is to become profitable in one's own right. And that is not an easy task. I heard Sergio Marchionne making remarks about it today, and he feels that it's going to be a true uphill battle for Spyker and Saab to make business profitable. Well, the jury is out, Mr. Marchionne. We'll see about that in a few years from now. And
det är okej att de kommer när som helst. Och nu händer någonting. Först ser vi Jan-Åke Jonsson with Victor Muller coming up on the stage. Welcome back in business. Strictly on the stage. And of course, the future. Welcome. Welcome. I will leave you to it. This is the workhorse of Saab Automobile. That's Victor.
Look at the spike.
Victor, I have a question for you. I have been forced to answer so many times over this weekend, do you have a Spyker at the Saab Car Museum? I say, no.
But now you have.
Yes, that's the idea. Can we keep it?
Peter, you will see more Spykers than is good for you. Don't worry about it.
Thank you. Welcome to Trollhättan, and I think we will establish a direct connection between the Amsterdam Schiphol Airport and Trollhättan International Airport. Welcome again.
Thank you.
Okej, tack allihopa. Det här är fantastiskt. Det är otroligt att så många har kommit hit för att givetvis tillsammans fira att vi nu har skapat en långsiktig och säker framtid för Saab. Vi som alla har jobbat mot ett gemensamt mål under en längre period är givetvis otroligt tacksamma att vi har nu kommit så här långt. Nu har vi massor av jobb framför oss att återstarta verksamheten, att se till att vi får fart på produktionsapparaten, på marknadsföringen. Givetvis färdigställa våra nya bilar, nya 95 framför allt, men också allt annat som vi har i pipeline. De här sista 12-15 månader har givetvis varit otroligt turbulenta med mycket osäkerhet och givetvis har media lyckats att spekulera i både det ena och den andra lösningen. Och jag är personligen givetvis väldigt tacksam för att vi har kommit så här långt. Med den information som gick ut igår gällande då Spiker Cars köp av Saab automobil, så har vi givetvis säkerställt framtiden för oss. Nu är det upp till oss att bevisa att vi är värda det förtroendet som vi givetvis har fått ifrån Spiker Cars, men även ifrån GM. Och vi ska inte glömma eller den svenska regeringen som har tagit ett kliv framåt och nu har garanterat oss den statsgaranti som vi behöver för lånet i Europeiska investeringsbanken. Så att de här sista veckorna har varit ganska hektiska som ni kan förstå, och samtidigt som vi är i ett likvidationssituation som vi nu kommer att jobba oss ur här under de närmaste veckorna, så har vi, tycker jag, som organisation hållit ihop fantastiskt. Ert stöd har varit, för mig i alla fall, en viktig faktor i hur jag själv har kunnat hålla motivationen uppe, och det ska ni veta, det är jag otroligt tacksam för. Jag skulle också vilja ta tillfället i akt och tacka givetvis för det givmildhet som ni har visat mig, som också har givetvis lyft min motivation. En weekend i Grythyttan, ett äppelträd, men framför allt det ständiga medlemskapet i min favoritförening AIK. Det ska ni veta, det uppskattas. What I'd like to do now is, of course, introduce Victor Muller, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Spiker Cars. I met Victor, I think it's about almost exactly 2 months ago in Detroit. He and I had our first meeting in the Renaissance in the Marriott Hotel, and I've since then had the great opportunity to work very, very closely with Victor. And I can tell you, Victor is one of these individuals that doesn't take no for an answer. He has a tremendous enthusiasm, energy, and also motivation that I'm sure many of you are going to experience very intensely during the next several years that we're going to work together. I think Spiker Cars has demonstrated how they believe in the Saab brand, how they believe in the business plan, but more importantly, how they believe in the people. So I'm really happy to introduce to you Victor Muller, the CEO of Spiker Cars.
I'm really stunned to see you all here today. Nothing prepared me for seeing so many people so enthusiastic
and it only confirms that we did the right thing. I have a message from your new... I have a message from your new shareholder. Long live Saab! There is one man that needs to be mentioned here specifically, and it's your CEO, Jan-Åke Jonsson. Without him, this would have been absolutely impossible. I say, he is the man. He did it. If I could only tell you how this man fought for Saab, that is so impressive. And I'm sure he got his energy from you, by the employees of Saab that just didn't cave in, that didn't give up, and just kept on going. I take my hat off to you. I'm completely impressed with the way you withstood the terrible period that you must have gone through. But we're here today. It's time for a new start, and I'm so motivated and so totally impressed with what you have done in the past 13 months since the uncertainty started. And there must be a word also of thanks to the Swedish government. There is no way that this would have happened if they wouldn't have supported this transaction the way they have. And I know that he's here today, State Secretary of Finance Hans Lindblad, Göran Hägglund of the Ministry of Enterprise. They have been behind the scenes pushing like mad to make it possible that we're here today, and that Saab is not going to build its last cars in a matter of days, but that Saab has a future. And you are the future of Saab. And I salute you, and I thank you for standing by your management, standing by the future of this business, and I hope that we are going to enjoy that future together in an unprecedented way. Thank you very much.
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Saab press conference. I'm happy, of course, to see such a big crowd visiting us. I guess there is something special about Saab. As an example, last Tuesday was a great day for Saab and all of our supporters. That's when we secured our future. This would not have been possible without the tremendous support from dealers, customers, employees, suppliers, and of course all of our people with a soft spot for Saab in their heart. The determination of everybody involved in this transaction is something that we are of course extremely grateful for at Saab. So what actually happened was that during Tuesday of last week we exited the liquidation. An agreement was signed between General Motors and Spyker Cars for the sale of Saab, and we also made an agreement with the European Investment Bank as well as the Swedish National Debt Office. This all leading to that we now at Saab Automobile have a new owner and we have a fully funded business plan. So over the next 100 days we will refocus our business and restart all of our activities. This will start with the ramp up of our production. we today have extremely low inventories all over the world that is hampering our sales volume. This also includes the start of the manufacturing of the 9.3 convertible in Trollhättan, Sweden, the vehicle that we have moved from Austria back to our facility in Sweden. We will also restart our marketing activities and activities out in the marketplace. This involves, as an example, the launch of the 9.3X in the US market, as well as the launch of the all-new 9.5 that you see here on stand. The early response to the 9.5 has been extremely positive. It is really a car that delivers on all the key Saab characteristics, including progressive design, but also performance through the typical Saab way with low displacement engines, of course turbocharged, utilizing the typical characteristics of our brand. Of course, we offer alternative fuel in our vehicles, and on the gasoline side, we have engines ranging from 1.6 turbo all the way up to 2.8 turbocharged engine. And on the diesel side, we focus our efforts on the 2-liter turbo diesel, delivering exceptional responsible performance. As an example, our 2-liter TID delivers 350 Newton meter with only 139 gram of CO2. Additionally, of course, 5-star Euro NCAP is a given when it comes to Saab. And once you get the chance to drive this beautiful car, you will experience that this is a typical driver's car, which is so typical for Saab. During the next 100 days, we will also start the creation of an independent company, carving out our business from the integration with General Motors. And I must say here that General Motors have been very supportive in agreeing with us transitional service agreement that will ensure continuity in our business as we create our own company. However, if we look a little bit midterm then, what are the key focus for Saab going into the future? Well, I'll divide it into talk about the brand, our products, and our operations. Overall, of course, regarding the brand is to take our heritage into the future. This fantastic brand that creates such emotions and involvement has its soul or its DNA in being innovative, doing things differently. You all know the turbocharging technology, how we design our vehicles, the focus on safety, etc., etc. Our aircraft heritage is also something that goes through the brand in terms of how we design our cars, how we operate with aerodynamics, and of course functionality. And last but not least, our Scandinavian or Swedish origin, where safety, social responsibilities, practicality, and conscious about the environment plays a key role. This will also be the core of our future. On the product side, we at Saab have always suffered from a very narrow product program. Additionally, our long life cycles have created many challenges for us at Saab. Now we're fortunate to correct these issues. The current 9.3 not only offers 4 body styles, but also have a broad range of powertrains, including probably the best all-wheel drive system in the market. And we have many new cars around the corner, starting, of course, with the 9.5 sedan that we will launch later on this year. This will follow by the 9.5 Sport Combi and in the beginning of next year. And then we will also, in 2011, enter the crossover segment with the 9.4X. This is a segment that is growing in size and importance and will be very important for the Saab customers into the future. We're also in the middle of the development, of course, of a new 9.3 that will be launched during 2012. All of these developments are fully funded as a part of our business plan, together with the activities to keep these vehicles current as we go into the next couple of years. All of this leading, of course, to a broader offer as well as a more current product program. On the operational side, we will concentrate our efforts to Sweden. We will ensure that all the development and all the manufacturing is done in Trollhättan in Sweden. This will, of course, help us drive down our break-even level, meaning that at the typical Saab volumes of 120,000 cars per year, we will have a good return on our business. What we also see out in the marketplace today is a general attitude in the automobile industry towards more openness. And whereas the auto industry historically were focusing on creating volume through ownership, we now see more and more alliances being created without necessarily having equity in each other. During these last 15 to 18 months, we have received numerous offers from big OEMs to small suppliers regarding cooperations. And as we go into a new organization, we will of course explore all of these. One agreement that we already have in place is an agreement with Beijing Automotive, an agreement where we bring know-how into Beijing Automotive and they help us penetrate the very important growing Chinese market. An agreement that will continue to nurture and that will be extremely important as we go into the future. Many have, of course, asked the question, how will all this work? And most of them maybe it doesn't have the insight into the business as many of us have, including myself. But I would say the answer is very simple. We have a fully funded business plan. We have an effective operation in Trollhättan, Sweden, with a great infrastructure where we gradually will increase our utilization and drive down the break-even point. We have a fantastic and unique brand, and I would say in today's society, a very relevant brand. We have a great workforce, an excellent dealer network, and we have a customer base of 1.5 million customers throughout the world. But last but not least, as an independent company, we decide priorities, we decide the technology to use, we decide with what partners to cooperate, and through the good relationship with General Motors, we have a great transition plan into a standalone company. All of this, in summary, leads me to conclude that Saab has a bright future. One person that shares my view in this regard is the CEO of our new owner, Spiker Cars. Without Victor Muller's belief in Saab and the tremendous energy and skills, we would not be where we are today, something that we at Saab are very grateful for. Victor.
Thank you, Jan-Åke, for your kind words. It is truly a special moment to be here today and address you all. If someone would have told me 2 years ago, just 2 years ago, one day you'll address about 1 million people that you own Saab, I'm sure that most of you would have burst out laughing. Because how can it be that a small company, a small manufacturer like Spiker, acquires a relative giant like Saab? And the only reason why that can actually happen is because of the amazing storm, the perfect storm I've called it, in this industry. The storm that caused giants to fall down and small companies to take opportunities that nobody had ever thought possible. We were there at the right time, at the right place, and we took the bold step to move in and save Saab. And it was worth every step of the way. It was 93 days of 20 hours a day to make it happen, but it was worth it. It was particularly worth it when Jan-Åke and myself were confronted with the employees of Saab in Trollhättan. And if you were ever in doubt that we took the right step, we knew then that that decision was the right one to take. Saab is an iconic brand. It was worth saving. But now the real work starts. The honeymoon is over. It was a tough honeymoon, I must say. But the honeymoon is over, and now we have to get to work. Spyker is not a presumptuous company. We don't think that we're going to run Saab. We're definitely not. Saab is run by its own management, headed by Jon-Åke Johnson. Very capable management, very competent, and completely passionate about what the journey we're about to set on. Spyker will bring to the table entrepreneurship, tenacity, a bit of knowledge about the premium segment of the market, and we will forge partnerships along the industry. The wonderful thing about this crisis is that it has changed the face of the industry. Whilst in the past, companies, OEMs would be very conscious not to share their technology, that has changed dramatically. Because every boardroom throughout every manufacturer in this industry will be filled with one desire: how do we bring our break-even point down? Because nobody in his right mind would have been able to predict that you would see demand drop off the cliff at the pace of 40% in 1 year. And in the case of Saab, even worse. The uncertainty surrounding the brand, since it was basically put up for sale, did a lot of damage to those who entrusted themselves in the brand. That period has now come to an end. And I'm very proud that we can be the shepherds of this brand, and we will look after it in the best possible way. Saab is an innovative company. Saab has always been on the forefront of technology, and it will be again. Saab has been known for its quirkiness, for its designs that captured the eye, for its intriguing history in the sports arena. All these elements are still there, and they were given to us on a platter by GM. And we should be grateful for GM. They have invested a tremendous amount of money in Saab. But maybe along the line, somewhere, Saab lost a bit of its DNA, of its typical Swedish origins, of its wonderful aviation heritage, of its independent thinking. Well, as an independent manufacturer, that independent thinking will come in very handy to determine where to move next. We're very, very proud that we've achieved this. We're very proud of all those that stood by the company in its darkest days. I don't think there is any other brand in the world where people are rallying around the world, 60 or more rallies of people that are so passionate about the brand that they went into the streets and shouted, "Save Saab, save our brand." I think that is quite a feat. And it's again underlying the tremendous loyalty of our customers. Saab needs to win those hearts back. And the wonderful thing about where we are today is that the new products that have been set in motion years ago are ready for launch. We're looking here at the 9.5, a beautiful car which I would describe as a Saab, a car which embodies the Saab DNA to the core. Very soon, we'll see the 9.4X again as Saab. And in 2012, the successor to the still very successful 9.3. Those cars will pave the way for a very bright and profitable Saab, and I'm very, very honored that we can be part of that. I would very much like to express our gratitude to all of you coming here today, and that we are available for the next hour or so to answer all the questions you may have. But I would very much like to underline that Jon-Åke Johnson and his team never thought that it wouldn't happen. They kept on believing in this company and in its future. Without them, there would be no Saab today. Thank you so much. Okay.